I guess the big thing for me is, man, I'm really excited to coach Cam Newton. Like, you know, just getting to know him, being around him, seeing the way that he's rehabbing, the way he's taking this seriously. I think if he does this right and we do this right, and his best football's ahead of him. And so, you know, I didn't know him before coming there, and I've really enjoyed my interactions with him. And so, you know, I have a job to do, and it's not to start talking about like 6 months from now. It's about right now, making sure that we get Cam healthy for this fall, because if he's healthy, there's really no questions about who he is or what he can do. So just making sure that that's really our focus right now, getting that in place. But I felt like coming here, I wanted to make sure people knew, like, I really want to coach this guy, and I really like this guy. And I really like the way he's approaching his rehab and the way he's doing things.
That's Panthers coach Matt Rhule from the Scouting Combine. When he says coming here, he wants to make people understand that. In hindsight, Chris, and they're not the first team to do this, they had a strategy. They had a plan. They had a ruse. They were trying to convince people, I believe, that they were going forward with Cam in an effort to persuade someone to try to trade for Cam. Of course. And there were no takers, there were no bites, and eventually they ripped off the Band-Aid a couple of weeks ago and cut Cam Newton. And yesterday their GM, Marty Herney, met with reporters, pre-draft conference. That's going to happen all the time as we approach the draft in 16 days. Herney would not get into specifics when asked why they made the decision to move on from Cam Newton, dangling him in an effort to trade him before they cut him. All Herney said is that was probably one of the most difficult decisions. As soon as we decided to trade him, I called Cam's representatives and told them we were going to start calling teams to see if there was interest. But they never got into the why they were ready to move on from Cam Newton. And look, maybe there's a lot of issues, a lot of reasons. Maybe they're trying to be respectful of Cam Newton. But the bottom line is this continues to be confusing. It continues to be confounding. And the fact that no one's been linked to this guy in the 2 weeks that he's been available is amazing to me, Chris. I understand no one can do a proper physical of Cam Newton, but to hear that no one's even interested pending the opportunity to do the physical is what's amazing to me.
Well, you know, first off, okay, let's answer the first question with Carolina. You know, why did they not want Cam Newton or whatever it may be? You know, I guess the contract situation, sure, they've seen him get beat up the last few years, so they do have a better knowledge of his medical history and where his body's at. And I think ultimately the way Matt Rhule and new offensive coordinator Joe Brady, you know, they want to coach their team. Yes, they want to start a new era with their imprint, not the old regime's imprint, which would be Cam Newton. But also, I don't think Cam Newton necessarily fits that style of offense either, and I think they recognize that. Teddy Bridgewater came from that style of offense, so Joe Brady and Matt Rhule like that. Now, the other aspect is teams being interested. Yeah, Carolina's got a free pass because of COVID-19, and there hasn't been enough talking head shows. But they screwed over Cam Newton. There's no other way to say it. They totally screwed over the best player in the history of their franchise. And yes, who else? All the seats are filled other than the Los Angeles Chargers, and they're telling us they're going forward with Tyrod Taylor. So it's hard to find a spot, and I don't know if he'll find one until training camp starts now.
Yeah, I agree with you, and he's definitely not going to find a spot until he can go somewhere and have that physical where a team can properly assess where that foot is, where the ankle is, where the shoulder may be. And remember, last year he was in the process of trying out a new throwing motion. We forgot about that once he injured the foot that derailed him after only 2 games. Cam Newton had an Instagram live session with Chris Paul recently, and Cam said, I'm a fish out of water. I've never not known anything other than the Carolina Panthers, and now it's like I want God to direct my path and put me in a position where I can thrive and be myself. On top of that, it's still about becoming better. Chris, I don't know who's going to emerge. Somebody surely is going to emerge. The guy is too good. If he's healthy, he has to have a job somewhere. I still think the Dolphins, speaking of fish out of water, even though dolphins aren't fish, they're aquatic mammals, keep an eye on the Dolphins. I'm just saying, keep an eye on them, Chris.
Yeah, I know. Your gut's usually right. I would be, I mean, it makes sense. I just would be shocked. So we'll see where it goes, but we'll be back at PFT right after this.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.